Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Tom's Corner, where you can hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Our topic lesson today you might find really very interesting because I believe it pertains to us today, what I'm going to read to you. And the big question, the topic is this: what does the Lord say when we have gone too far? Okay, let me get my glasses on and we'll go for it. Now I'm going to read scriptures to you. I'm going to read the whole scriptures here. I'm going to go through it very quickly. Then we can go back and clip off some of the things that stand out very much so. This is in the Old Testament, Isaiah chapter 13. This is starting with verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened, and in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. Some of you may have read that, but I believe a lot of people have not read that, because it is talking about you, it's talking about me, in the world we're living in right now, right this very moment. Is what this is talking, this scripture is talking. And everyone should go back into the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, beginning with verse 6, all the way down to 13, and read it and study it, because this will soon come upon us in the world we're living in today. Okay, a few highlights. I told you I would give you a few highlights out of it. Now listen to this part. Let's see if we can go down and find them. Now you notice there in 8 where it talks about their faces shall be as flames. They wouldn't be flames, but it's going to look like flames. Now, when do you, or have you ever in history, in our past, remember the people's faces so red that it looks almost like flames? Have you ever thought of that? Well, sure you have. Nagasaki, Hiroshima. When they dropped the nuclear bombs down on Japan, they brought the people out that had survived, which was very little people, and found out, guess what? Looking at their face, where the radiation and the heat and all this had hit their faces, it was red as if they were in flames. Not only that, according to history, they showed pictures of a cement wall, and the individual from the blast was vaporized. The only thing that was left of that individual was a dark imprint that had blocked that radiation nuclear force. The individual was totally evaporated, gone. But there was like a shadow on the wall where that he had blocked those rays when they hit. And when he disintegrated, you see the person huddling in a black silhouette on the wall. things that you need to be looking at today. And well, you say, now, what am I talking about here? What am I talking about? Listen, in that one day is what the Bible tells you. Now remember this, 13 tells you down in there, and in the day of his what? Fierce anger. Okay? Now listen, in 9 it tells you to lay the land desolate. What can cause actual land, we're talking about countries, land, to lay desolate? It's easy. Nuclear fallout, nuclear bomb. Okay? One day. The Bible talks about that harlot. It talks about that one day and 1 hour that she would be destroyed. And they could, ships that set off into the sea would look. No, this is in Revelation. And look, and they would moan, they would weep and howl because of the wealth of the world was totally gone. And they saw the smoke ascending up. What causes a plumage that will go up for untold miles, hundreds of miles in the air? It's easy. Nuclear warfare, nuclear bombs. Why do you think Iran was fighting so fiercely to acquire nuclear capability? Why do you think they were doing that? One thing, they were bent on doing that to get it together and a way to fire it over into Israel. That's all they wanted to do. Their mindset, fire it into Israel. And why do you think that they're still crying left? And I wonder, here's a question for you. Why was, how should I say it? There is a remnant of these evil people in Iran that have held that power. Why is it that are still holding the power? Good question, isn't it? Didn't the Bible tell you something that you need to look and read? Gog and Magog, we're talking about going up into Russia and other places. They would all get together, even mass armies would come across the what? The river Euphrates. It would be dry, they would march across, and we're hearing a lot about that. And it's almost there now that they could march across at any time because they've built dams all along the way. All they got to do is close the gates, and all of a sudden Mediterranean dry up, and they'll march across. Guess who's going to be in the march across? Iran. They're going to be left, okay? And this is what I'm saying. I asked the question, why do you think some of those evil people that are in power still in power right now? Right now. I personally, if I had a decision of my own, my decision would be this: eradicate every one of them. All you need is a handful of roaches in your house, and it will eat it down. Did you know that? All you need is a handful of termites chewing on your house, and ants too. They will eat your house right to the ground. Oh, they're people. They are people that are bent on evil. They're people that are bent on destroying God's people. Do you think God's going to allow that? No. Now here's another one for you. Besides laying the land desolate, it talks about the stars of heaven, constellation. Thereof shall not give their light. Well, when we have a volcanic action, and there's been a few in our history, and some huge ones, and they say, and I wasn't around, it's back sometime, but they said it actually darkened the earth, the ash fallout, darkened the sun, that there was no summer, okay? Never had a summer. What do you think is happening when they drop these nuclear bombs, and it tells you what? You could not see the light of heaven. You couldn't see the stars, the constellation. Moon wouldn't even shine. Something has happened that made it dark. It is the fallout from what's going to happen, and there will be nuclear warfare, irregardless of what you might think or not think. Well, we're well prepared. We're going to be preserved. You better start thinking again. You better get your heart right and think that you're going to live on and on and on. You're not. Now I'm going to tell you something else. If there was nuclear warfare, say over in the countries, and Iran could get, all right, here's one. Food for thought. Food for thought is this. They don't have nuclear power right now to attack Israel. And they say they're going to start it right back up again. What if China or Russia said, hey, we're going to do you a favor. We're going to slide you in a means of rockets, but we're going to also slide you in the nuclear warheads. So if you want to shoot them out now, now's a good chance. When they think you're laying low and you don't have any weaponry, what do you think it would be if they could push one of those supersonic ones, way better than they've been using, to where the defensive mechanisms cannot stop them, or fly it low enough, fast enough, they couldn't detect them, and drop the nuclear bomb. All you need is one bomb in Israel. Israel's gone. But the Bible doesn't say Israel's gone. Huh? Think about that. But could they do it? Sure they could do it. They could drop them. There will be a degree of nuclear warfare coming when they're coming to fight against Israel. There will be. Okay? That's food for thought too. But I thought I would read this to you. So the Bible says this, and when there's peace, peace, and I believe that's in Revelation talking about that. You can look it up. You can let me know. Peace, peace. What happens? Right after that, everybody crying peace, peace. Sudden destruction. If an enemy's going to attack you, they're not going to say, well, I'm going to come Thursday and I'm going to attack you. It doesn't work that way. They will be as sneaky as I don't know what. They'll cry, we want peace. We want peace. Yeah, and at the same time they're crying that, they're loading them up. Hey, folks, get ready. We're in for a rocket ride, okay? This world's changing. And I'll tell you what, people are starting to wake up to the fact that stinking America is playing with the weather. Look at Texas. All them people devastated. In a matter of less than a half an hour, they said that the water rose over 25 feet. Man, that's impossible. How in the world does that happen? That's never happened since the flood. How does it happen? There's people now waking up to the fact they're going telling Congress, tell them whoever's doing this, which is our secret government. How do you think they're funded? All these planes flying and putting the trash in the air, and we see them. This is how that it works. It works from up in Alaska, and they reach the world. You can go over in Ireland. You can see them flying over with the streams coming out the back, which they're dropping on the people. You can go to England. You watch these movies here, the recent movies now, and watch the sky. Watch the pictures that they're taking. And you tell me, what is those streaks when they're all 4 to 6 to 8 flying this way, 4 to 6, 8 flying this way? It dissipates out, covers, and you can't see the sun. All you see is a dull gray. Why do you think that's happening? Because if you can control the weather, you can dominate the world. That's what it's all about. Complete domination. It's not about self-defense, because our president right now is talking about the iron or the gold dome or whatever you want to talk. Well, now if we've already got them up there and they're saying they're flying those planes and spraying to protect us, don't believe everything you hear. Okay, so I've brought that to you, brought a couple tidbits. I hope you understand what it says. Get your life straightened up.